Hello there, Only One Kenobi here, Only One. This video is going to be all about weathering, and it's a response to what I did in my video for the Ewing. There's a few people in the comments were saying that they didn't want it to be weathered. I think that's madness. Of course it's got to be weathered. But one thing I've got to make clear is that I made my video before I saw Chris's video. Now, when I saw Chris's video, I was well pleased. It looked a lot better than it did in the publicity, and that's happened before, ladies and gentlemen. Before we even talk about if it's weathered or not, and what I want for weathering and how weathered it should be, let's talk about that over there. Now, the Millennium Falcon for the Galaxy's Edge, when they first showed the publicity for that, you couldn't see any weathering. It looked as plain as the original Legacy one did. And the reason I and others wanted weathering is because we'd already been treated to a new generation of weathering. And primarily I mean by that, the Luke Skywalker X-Wing, which came out in 2019. That's featured a very light wash of weathering, as did other things around that time. We got the Slave One, the one from 2020, that has a really beautiful finish on it, which gives it a real world look, and that's my point. Now, there are different grades of weathering that have been available, even going back to that Y-Wing there. That is just dirty, and there's no two ways about it. I was not saying that the new E-Wing should be dirty. I just think it needs to be weathered, and they have shown in recent years a subtle grading of weathering on these items that just make it look real. This ship was so well done, and I wouldn't say it looked dirty, but they've put that fine dirt over it, because otherwise it would just look like bright plastic, bright orange plastic, whereas now it looks real. Now, the thing about the new E-Wing, I don't care if it's a new vehicle, I don't care if it's peacetime. That's a dusty planet. Those vehicles will be used daily, probably. It needs weathering. And the reason I'm filming this Poe Dameron X-Wing is because the fuselage of this reminds me of the new E-Wing. It's a beautiful finish, and you know, when you've got the light shining off it like this, it looks real world, man. That looks like it's a movie prop. I don't think it looks dirty, it just looks used, man. It's a ship. And someone said in a comment how, oh, like a new police car, it'll be kept clean, all this. Fair enough, that's a great argument. I understand what you're trying to say. But really, at the end of the day, I just want my ship to look real and not like a toy plastic thing. Speaking of which, Exhibit A of that is this. Now, this is the least weathered thing you're going to get. These things like the old 5POA line, the movie lines of stuff, they really cheaped out. And not only were they massively underscaled, these ships, they had no weathering whatsoever, except for the paint jobs had subtle nuances like the paint chipping and stuff like that, which gives it a real world look. But apart from that, things like this would have really benefited from the wash that they put on other items. Going over to things like the AT-AT here now. Now, the AT-AT is such an impressive vehicle in itself, but it doesn't have the wash I was talking about. I don't know if I call it a wash. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but this has got loads of rivets and crevices and stuff like that. If it had been covered and these were filled a bit more, it would just look that bit more real. It does have a few touch-ups like that, subtle suggestions. Plus, you could actually add some stickers to this, which I chose not to. Just on the leg there. But generally, it's what I'd consider a clean finish. Here's another vehicle, it's a clean finish. Now, this is a thing that I think maybe this is what people were talking about. This has got a lovely finish to it, but they're blaster marks, which maybe the Ewing wouldn't have, but still, this looks real. Of course, the Razor Crest, that has definitely got the wash all over it. Let's go in closer, you know what I'm talking about. If you look closely to the panel, look at it. Now, would you consider that dirty or just real? Well, this probably can stand to look dirty because that's the whole point of the Razor Crest. It's a well-used, well-lived-in, well-travelled vehicle. It's like a camper van type thing, you know what I mean? On the move. Going to the Falcon here now. Let's have a look firstly at the Legacy Falcon. Just like the AT-AT you just looked at, it has on it touch-ups, specific blast marks, like oil leaks almost, that have been jetted on there. But the actual weathering is past that. The newer Falcon has more than that. If you look at one specific panel like there, there's nothing on it, but there could be. Let me go down to the Falcon and show you exactly what I mean. That is what I mean. Can you see it? On that panel, it has all that covering it. And I do admit, this is looking dirty. It's probably a darker grade that than you'll see on other vehicles, but it doesn't half make it look real, like a movie prop. That's the point I was trying to make. And yes, this is made to look dirty. It's the Falcon after all, but let's go and have a look at these examples here. Luke's, now this is a later incarnation of the X-Wing, and there it is again. You'll see it on the grey panel there. It's like a kind of a cloudy, smoky look. Here's Slave One. That's got some streaks on it as well. That's a dirty vehicle. It's made to look dirty, that one. But it doesn't look too bad. I mean, you've got the Blue Leader X-Wing there. I mean, look at that. I mean, you can see the brushing all over it. See, you got the paint there. It's streaked. Why can't it look like that? That doesn't look dirty, does it? It just looks real. That's what I'm trying to say. I wasn't saying it should look really dirty, except that back bit does. Because these are battered vehicles that have been in several battles and stuff like that. But that takes me back to the Poe Dameron one you saw earlier. That was a lot more subtle, right? You know what I mean? That looks well used and stuff. You see, I don't know how they're going to do it. They could potentially make the engines of the Ewing look like that because they're used. But that's what I was trying to say. From the publicity, it looked like there was nothing on it. However, we've had that before. The publicity shots for the Millennium Falcon 2020. Now look at that, you see. I'm really hoping that the finish will be like this. And even those people who commented, you can't argue with that, can you? You know? A ship flying on a dirty planet, man. Regardless of peacetime, it's got to have a finish to it. And on a final word, ladies and gentlemen, I need to decide if I'm buying another one because I wouldn't mind that droid loose, man. So I need to buy myself another one, which is another £100 odd, which I can't afford right now. But time will tell. Very interesting discussion. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Some ships definitely need something. That one up there, that B-wing there, looks way too white and plastic to float my boat. I need to get rid of that. I'm sick of it. That's the best one. The Power of the Jedi one. Anyway, a debate that could rage on and on. Do let me know your thoughts below. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only one.